bands to the wrist side. She pull out with a friend and I'm on it like a red dye. I got my sights on a headshot. Yeah, shit, she got a man, let her live dry. Both sides, switched up out of blue, yeah, she played both sides. Flipping through the door, trying to change the life. Nah, you still die. I can tell just by the way you talk, yeah, you do this often.
You can train for years and build an insane physique and still look terrible if your posture sucks. If you're like me and are building an aesthetic physique, then this is something that you want to avoid. That's why I'm going to break down how to fix any posture issue without boring you with 20 different exercises or anatomy lessons. Instead, I'll show you the exact method that I use to find and fix my posture problems, so you can do the same to yours. So the first point is why posture is a game changer for looks. And a lot of it has to do with what's known as the V-taper. The V-taper is the most attractive body type for women, and it's known as the most aesthetic physique that you can have. And basically what that V-taper is having wide shoulders and a narrow waist. I made a whole video on it up here if you want to check that out. But the gist of it is bad posture ruins your V-taper. When you're slouched in and closed off, your shoulders aren't as broad as they can be. And this makes you look a lot less aesthetic and a lot less attractive. And this isn't just the case when you're looked at from the front. When you're looked at from the side, your chest is caved in and it doesn't pop as much as it should. And it just doesn't look good no matter what angle someone looks at you from. Having bad posture basically looks like you have 10 to 15 pounds less muscle than what you actually do have, because you're not making that muscle actually pop and look as good as it can. Aside from muscle, think about how bad posture makes you look. Like when you're scared, you usually have a terrible posture, you're closed off, and you just don't look very confident. But when you're feeling good and you're feeling confident, I bet you if you notice your posture, you notice that your shoulders are back, you feel a lot more open, and you just feel like you're ready to take on the day. And not only does posture affect how confident you feel, but it also affects how confident other people perceive you as. So if you're closed off and you don't have very good posture, not only are you going to look weaker, but you're also going to look like you got a lot less confidence than what you may have. Not only will this make you look more attractive to women, but it's also going to make you look like a guy who other guys don't want to fuck with, because you look a lot more confident, you look a lot more muscular, and you just kind of have that presence that you own the room, if that makes sense. So you definitely want to make sure you get your posture dialed in.
Need a triple double. Told him check the stats. Yeah, I got a couple. I don't drive the ball. Nah, I never fumble. I'm the MVP. Now I feel like Russell. Yeah, I need it now. Told him on the lay. I've been moving, dog. Yeah, I'm on the way. I don't hear the talk. Don't care what they say. I don't got no patience. I can't ever wait. I've been trying to get it. Running up all these digits. And I've been in the gym. I've been up doing minutes. I just put in that work. Strictly business, and I see through the face. They all just burning bridges. Feel like John Morant. Need a triple double.
Before I get into the next point, if you guys are looking for a group of men who are just as into fitness as you are, then I definitely recommend checking out my free fitness accountability group on Discord. I'll drop the link for that down in the description of this video. I would love to have you there. Now, aside from looks, posture can have some major issues, especially for people like us who are training in the gym every day. If your posture's off, it can definitely cause some serious issues. For instance, if you're squatting and you have poor posture, it can cause excessive strain on your lower back. It can cause you to lean forward excessively. It can cause you to get that so-called butt wink. Your base will be less stable, like your knees will cave in or out, and it'll be hard on those joints. And aside from this, if you don't have proper posture, it's going to make the weight feel heavier. Every one of these things can lead to injury, and this is just a squat. Every other exercise, especially like compound lifts, can be affected by how your posture is. And if it's poor, then it can definitely cause an injury. This is not only going to be painful, but it's also going to keep you out of the gym, meaning that it's going to take longer to get the aesthetic look that you're going for. Poor posture can also limit your range of motion, which if you're not using full range of motion on a lift, it's going to mean that you're not going to see full muscle development. There's a saying that I kept hearing in my personal trainer's course, and it was full range of motion for full muscle development. And if you're not getting that full range of motion in, then you're missing out on muscle growth. Poor posture can even affect something as simple as your breathing during a lift, which again will make that lift harder. Some of these problems that you might face from having poor posture when lifting might not even show themselves instantly. It could take years for some of these problems to arise, and then all of a sudden one day you're facing problems because of your poor posture when you're lifting. This could be a major issue for you, especially in terms of your quality of life. I don't mean to scare you by saying all this, but I do think it is important to stress the severity of poor posture, and that way you have some urgency to get it fixed, because it can lead to some serious problems, and you want to make sure you're not neglecting your posture and are actively working on improving it. The next tip is how to figure out what's wrong with your posture in the first place. Now, for me to cover every single posture problem in one video would make it an 1.5 hour long video, and it'd honestly be boring as shit. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is give you the technique that I used in order to figure out what was wrong with my posture. Obviously though, if you're having serious posture problems and it's causing you issues, then go see a physiotherapist or a chiropractor. They're going to be your best bet to fix a major ailment. But for anyone else who's like me and just has poor posture that they want to correct, this is what I did. The first thing you need to do is to take a few photos of yourself from different angles. Now, when you take these photos, don't try to have good posture. Also, don't try and have bad posture, but just stand in front of the camera how you normally would and just snap a few photos, one from the side and then one from the front and back at least. At a minimum, I'd take those 3 shots. The other thing you want to make sure you do is get your entire body in these photos. I'd also take them shirtless so that you get a more accurate measurement here. Then you want to take these photos and upload them to ChatGPT. Prompt it to analyze your posture, and it will give you a pretty good readout based off of what your photos are showing. And then based on the posture issues that it tells you that you have, you can either ask it for advice to fix these issues, or you can take those issues, type it into YouTube, and look up a specific video for posture fixes for those issues. This is the best way that I've found to fix my posture, as doing generic posture exercises are not going to be the most optimal thing that you can do to fix your posture. You want to do ones that are specific for the posture problems that you experience. Now, the next point is the best time to do posture work. Any stretching kind of exercise for posture, you want to do after a workout. You don't want to do it before. So for instance, one of my exercises is a doorway pec stretch, and I always make sure that I do it after a workout. Any type of static stretching, that means you stretch a muscle and then hold the position for any length of time. You want to make sure that you're doing that after a workout. If you do it before a workout, it's going to affect your lifts. These are also fine to do every day, and honestly, the more you do it, the more beneficial it'll be. So if you want to do static stretching as a morning routine or evening routine, you can do that as well. Now, when it comes to dynamic stretching, the type where your arm swings or anything where you're putting your muscles and joints through a full range of motion, that's fine to do before a workout. That's honestly a good warm-up to do before a workout, as it's going to loosen and warm everything up. Now, some posture exercises are strength-based exercises, and something like that you want to do on the specific day that you're doing that muscle group. Now, that said, if you can't do it on that particular day, I would skip the next day. You don't want to do it the following day after working out that muscle group, but the day after that, then you're fine. So for instance, with me, I do my pull day on a Wednesday. So if I wanted to do my rear delt flies and even face pulls, because I do those as well for posture, I wouldn't want to do those on a Thursday, as that's directly after working those muscle groups, and I don't want to work a muscle group 2 days in a row. So then I would do those particular strength training exercises 2 days after. If I couldn't, of course, do them on the Wednesday. So I'd either do them on the Wednesday or the Friday, or anytime after the Friday is fine, just as long as you don't do them on the Thursday. With these types of exercises, I'd avoid doing them every single day. You definitely want to give your muscles time to rest and recover. So for these, do them every other day at most, but you definitely want to make sure you're lining them up with your strength training routine. Now this next tip is a quick reset to instantly look better. Aside from the exercises that I talked about earlier, you want to train yourself to be watching your posture and correcting it when you notice that it's not very good. The best way to do this is if you have a wall to stand against, put your head back and butt against the wall and then keep your heels about an inch or two away from the wall. A little natural curve in your spine is fine. You don't need to have your whole back touching the wall, but you want to have those 3 main points that I talked about touching it. And then when you walk away, you want to hold this posture. One thing you want to make sure you do with this wall trick is make sure you pull your shoulder blades back, pull them together, and then down. If you don't want to go up against the wall, another thing that you can do is, again, make sure you pinch your shoulder blades together. Pretend that you're holding a tennis ball between your shoulder blades. Again, make sure they're back and then down. And you also want to lift your head up. This is going to tuck your chin in a bit. It's also going to correct your posture for your head and neck. I like to think of someone pulling this top part of my hair, and that helps me straighten my head up. Now, if you dial in your posture, all you need to do is make sure that you're building the right muscles in the gym to look aesthetic. And that's what this video is all about. So I definitely recommend checking it out. Don't forget to join my free fitness accountability group down in the description of this video. And don't forget to click subscribe.